Go ahead, Mr. Gill.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the minutes from our July 17th meeting were distributed. Any comments on them?
Move to be accepted.
Thank you. Do you need to have information on this portion of the meeting as well?
Do you want to sign it?
We may as well. Okay. Because there is action today on the CON hearings that were held, we have to have a roll call vote. We do have a stenographer here, so if there are motions to be made, when you make the motion, please state your name and spell it. You need it spelled as well? Okay, good. Just state your name if you will. Thank you. So that was Mr. Glass who made the motion to accept the minutes from July 17th, and the second was Crystal Fisher. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. What we'll do right now at this portion of the meeting is set aside the business portion of the meeting so that we can hear from the CON committee and listen to their report and entertain motions. So, Mr. Adolph, if you'll tell us. Thank you. Is there a second to set aside that? Mr. Santoro, was that you making the second motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Mr. Adolph.
Okay, we'd ask the stenographer to record this like two different events, so for billing purposes, because the applicants are billed for the expenses of the council. Madam Chair, the CON committee has two matters for the council's action tonight. Consideration of the application of the West Seneca Fire District Number 1 for ALSFR service, and second, the application for the Amber Volunteer Fire Department, Inc. for expansion of its operating territory to include a portion of the town of Amber. First is the application of the West Seneca Fire District Number 1. The CON committee has received the findings of fact, conclusion, and recommendation of the hearing officer appointed by the council to hear this application. The hearing officer recommends approval and sets forth the basis for this findings and conclusions in his report. The report has been distributed. I apologize, we don't have a copy for every member, but there's one on each table. Each of the committee member also has a copy. The CON committee has adopted the hearing officer's report as the committee's recommendation, namely that the application be approved. Pursuant to the Department of Health Policy Statement 06-06, the CON committee's recommendation for approval comes to the whole council as a seconded motion for approval. Thank you.
Okay, we have a seconded motion on the table to approve West Seneca Fire District Number 1's application. Any discussion?
Who's the second?
It is the seconded motion that comes from the committee.
Okay.
Further discussion. Do we have a quorum present? I believe we do.
We do.
We do have a quorum present. We will take a roll call vote on this. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to a roll call vote.
Yep, go ahead.
John Adolph?
Yes.
What we're asking in the vote is, yes, you are in favor of. I apologize for not explaining that. So John's vote is in the affirmative to accept. John Adolph, yes.
Would you like me to read the motion from the committee meeting?
Sure, thank you.
Sure, as soon as I find it. Conclusions and recommendation of the hearing officer as recommendation of the CO. I'm sorry. The motion was for the CON committee to adopt the findings of fact, conclusions, and recommendations of the hearing officer as the recommendation of the CON committee. The motion was made by Mr. Gill and seconded by Mr. Stryker.
So your seconded motion is as read.
Yes.
And an affirmative vote from John Adolph. Anthony Bellatier.
Yes.
Brian,
Yes, sir.
okay. Ballister? I apologize.
No problem, yes.
Thank you. Crystal Fisher? Yes. And I lost that one when I went to the other one. Brian Bronner?
Yes.
Thank you, Brian. Crystal Fisher, you got her? I'll get this right with the next one. Greg Gill?
Yes.
James Glass?
Yes.
Sheila Haddock, thank you.
Yes.
Christina Mastriella?
Yes.
Cheryl Mayer, yes. Dan McCartan?
Yes.
Dan Rogers?
Yes.
Tony Santoro?
Yes.
Clifford Smith?
Yes.
Carol Staffel?
Yes.
William Stryker?
Yes.
Mark Sapanic?
Yes.
Patricia Wiseman?
Yes.
Christopher Zemek?
Yes.
That's okay. Margaret Gardner?
Here.
Well, we're voting with, this is a roll call vote for the acceptance of a CON application from the West Seneca
Were those in the minutes?
Fire District Number 1. Came forward as a seconded motion from the CON committee.
Okay.
That okay as an affirmative vote?
Yes.
Thank you. All in favor, none opposed? Motion passes. Well, that was fun. Now, John, if we could move to the second item.
The second is the application of Hamburg Volunteer Fire Department, Inc. I received the findings of facts, conclusions, and recommendations from the hearing officer appointed by the council to hear the application. The hearing officer recommends approval and sets for the basis for his findings and conclusions in his report. I'll entertain a motion to, I'm sorry, I'm reading. CON committee has received the findings of fact, conclusion, and recommendation of the hearing officer appointed by the council to hear this application. The hearing officer recommends approval and sets for the basis for his findings and conclusions in his report. The CON committee has adopted the hearing officer's report as the committee's recommendation, namely that the application be approved. Pursuant to DOH policy 0606, the CON committee's recommendation for approval comes to the whole council as seconded motion for approval. And that motion is the CON committee to adopt the findings of fact, conclusions, and recommendations for the hearing officer as a recommendation of the CON committee. Motion by Mr. Stryker, seconded by Mr. Gill. That comes as a seconded motion to this body.
We have a seconded motion on the floor to accept the CON application for, I want to make sure I read it right, Hamburg Volunteer Fire Department Incorporated. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Hopefully I'll get this better. John Adolph?
Yes.
Anthony Ballister?
Yes.
Brian Browner?
Yes. Dr. Bellatier?
Dr. Bellatier?
Yes.
Gotta have you sign in. Crystal Fisher?
Yes.
Margaret Gardner?
Yes.
Gregory Gill?
Yes.
James Glass?
Yes.
Sheila Hitech?
Yes.
I'll say it wrong. Christina Mastrella?
Yes.
Cheryl Mayer, yes. Daniel McCartan?
Yes.
Daniel Rogers?
Yes.
Anthony Santoro?
Yes.
Clifford Smith?
Yes.
Carol Staffel?
Yes.
William Stryker?
Yes.
Mark Sapanic?
Yes.
Patricia Wiseman?
Yes.
And Christopher Zemrak?
Yes.
All in favor, none opposed, that motion passes. Anything else to bring before the council on behalf of the CON committee?
Not specific to this matter. I will report that a number of agencies have received letters that follow along the lines of the Hamburg issue. The state has been currently reviewing records, finding agencies that are serving areas outside of what appears to be their immediate territory. They've been served notice to prove that they have an established relation to provide that service.
Very good.
probably have the following vital signs.
I'm
We're
sorry,
trying to schedule a meeting of vital signs.
I didn't hear which, probably clarification on that, probably.
Following vital signs, the vital signs conference.
Is that it for the CON committee?
I know Erie will have another BLSFR in the works. I'm not aware of anything other than these 7 agencies.
Mr. Gill?
Seeing as the increase in the number of these cases, and they're very time consuming, it's a lot of work that goes into it. If you look, give the CON committee some help, possibly. I could use some help, co-chair or something.
That was volunteer, co-chair?
Maybe.
And Mark, you want to serve on it as well?
I was thinking somebody from Wyoming County, since it's going to be a great Wyoming County and Erie County. Oh,
That Mr. Stryker? Was that what you're saying, co-chair?
I'd be more than happy to assist Mr. Adolph.
Thank you. Any other business for the CON committee?
No, ma'am.
Ms. McLeod, is this an opportunity to get rid of the stenographer's portion, an obligation to this, since we do record this meeting? Can we excuse her from this portion of the meeting moving forward? Yep. Do we need any kind of a motion to do that? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to dispense with the stenographer recording moving forward. Okay, so Christina? Thank you. And a second? You gotta say your name if you're gonna. There you go. Patricia Wiseman seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, so now we can return to the business portion of the meeting. Correspondence.
Received a PAD QI report from Regional Emergency Medical Organization that was forwarded to OPC. Several enforcement notifications. James Fenton, violation of 10 New York of NYCRR Part 816C. Suspension for 1 year effective 6/10 of 13. That was stayed, and he was assessed a civil penalty of $4,000. Michael Robb, a violation 816 subsection B, suspended for 3 years effective 7/2/13. All but 90 days are stayed. Actual suspension is from July 2nd of 13 to October 2nd of 13. Placed on a 3-year probation effective July 2nd of 13, and he was assessed a civil penalty of $2,000. I received confirmation of our New York State Vital Signs 2013 booth space assignment, which is number 307. Received course applications, EMT original and refresher for Mr. Casper out of Big Tree. Enforcement notification of change in a CFR class, course number 133151, course located to Newstead Fire Company. Enforcement notification, Atlantic Steamer Fire Company. Violation, lots of them, 821F, 823A, 823D, 826A, subsection 10, 823A, subsection 8, 826A, subsection 9, 826B, subsection 6. Suspended for 1 year effective 7/22/13. The suspension is stayed, and they were assessed a civil penalty of $2,000. Finger Lakes Community College, this is Finger Lakes Regional EMS Council. They are changing their address during some renovation, and this is going to be effective August 19th. That will be on file. PAD applications were received from the Orchard Park Veterinary Center and St. Matthew's United Church of Christ that was forwarded to OPC, and also received application for an EMT original and refresher run by Mr. Gill out of Orchard Park. And then what will be added to the record are the documents from Mr. Butler.
Record of proceedings for both CON hearings for Hamburg and West Seneca. Treasurer's report. Anything else? Correspondence?
These are for me.
Answer the 2 invoices and correspondence.
That would be fine. Before we get to the treasurer's report, we have a couple other pieces of correspondence. We have invoices so far from Mr. Butler to conduct those hearings. And we also received a grant application from, in the amount of $175 to subsidize training expenses for the mass casualty training that is going on right now in Erie County, I believe at the Fire Training Center, that is for responders in Western New York. So we'll approve those when we get past the treasurer's report. Anything else? Correspondence, okay, treasurer's report, those I believe were mailed out.
I think Neil sent them to everybody.
Okay, any discussion on those reports? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept those treasurer's reports?
Glass and Wiseman.
There you go. We have a first and a second. There was no discussion. Motion to, or, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay,
Who's this from? Mr.
Gil.
From Erie County?
Yes.
EMS?
Yes, they are hosting it. I believe it's at the Erie County Training Center, correct? Thank you. That training is today and tomorrow.
Okay, I'll just get that information.
Okay, do you want to, let's see, while we're on the treasurer's report, I would, those invoices from Mr. Butler, we have $2 amounts there.
Yep.
West Seneca's 2,800?
Yes.
Okay.
No, Hamburg's $2,926.13, and West Seneca's $2,800.38.
I'd like a motion to authorize the payment of those invoices. Mr. Adolph, is there a second?
Skapanik.
All in favor? Any opposed? In addition to those expenses that will come out of the $5,000 deposit money to conduct these CONs on behalf of both of those entities, I would entertain a motion to authorize the payment of the stenographer's expense this evening, which will be divided into two separate invoices appropriate to those departments, as well as the mailing costs to be paid out of the deposits.
So,
Mr. Glass, is there a second? Mr. McCartan? All in favor? Any opposed? The second item along that, or third item I guess it would be, is there a motion to return the balance of those deposited funds after we've received all the invoices? Mr. Stryker? Sheila's seconding. Any discussion on that? I don't know how long we're gonna need to wait on that, John. I'll wait for your cue to make sure that we're closed of all expenses. So after I have the authorization of the chair of the CON committee that all expenses are done, okay, then the motion is to return the balance to those departments.
Settle all
Thank you.
all actual expenses to the council.
All in favor? Any opposed? I'm moving right along, sorry for talking fast, but I've got a lot of people that say they're going to be leaving soon. Medical Advisory Committee?
There hasn't been a meeting since our last meeting.
Okay. Pre-Hospital Advisory Committee, Mr. Gill, anything to contribute?
There's no meeting since the last meeting.
Okay. State Council meeting, next one's not scheduled till the beginning of October, so there hasn't been any change. Erie County, Mr. Adolph.
We're just came off our budget process. Looks like our budget's going to be status quo. Our fall training schedule is out, as you hear from the report. Those are the big items for right now, and then the mass fatality program that you mentioned. So that's actually interesting. That's being piloted. That's a FEMA course, but this is the first offering in New York State. And the whole program's being piloted. So.
And 37 people, did I hear? Something like that? Awesome. Okay, anything else from Erie County? Wyoming County?
we've already touched base on the COT, CONs, we'll report back on that later. Our core sponsor, transition is not quite 100% complete, but, we're moving forward with it. We've got part of it, the intermediate part was kicked back because there's not gonna be any more intermediate, so we had to send out another letter, requesting an advanced level for instruction. And it's, we're working on the fall winter training as well right now.
Okay. Western New York Stress, I think Mr. Glass, you're still involved in that?
Yes, there's been a couple different things, but nothing outstanding, unless Jenny had anything else.
Make sure we send Chris the mailings. There's two pre-incident trainings slated for late this month, and then there's another one scheduled in October. So we'll make sure that goes to Chris so he can distribute to the body.
Thank you. Okay, moving up to committee reports. Ann Lapp is not here to get a full listing of individuals that are maintaining roster positions, those being active roster positions, 13 from each county, and 2 alternates from each county. So we actually have 30 people available if everyone is full. One discussion of the membership committee is to make sure that we have involved individuals pursuant to our bylaws to, our bylaws state that you have to attend meetings, and if you don't, you have a couple of inexcused absences, chronic absences, you're really not contributing. So, having said that, is there discussion from the floor about what we should do with our membership list currently?
I will move that pursuant to our bylaws, those members not in good standing be sent a letter that they are being dropped from the rolls.
Would you second?
Tony?
How many people are on that list, do we know?
On the list of
That are
inactives?
in bad standing or inactive?
You know, just off the top of my head, I'd say 4 or 5. And again, the letter would, I would presume, to include, thank you for their service. I mean, some of these people contributed a lot of time, schedules changed, lives changed, and they just can't do it anymore. So we'd like to thank them for their service, but we'd also like to give other people that are waiting the opportunity to serve. So we have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion?
Are there applications of people waiting to take these?
There are
positions?
applications, and at Vital Signs, we will also have applications. We've always had a real good return in Buffalo for people that are interested. Mr. Glass?
And just to clarify a little bit more, it's not that we're just going in and cleaning house per se. There's a couple individuals that have not shown up in probably over a year and a half. So the interest probably is not there anymore for whatever reason. You mentioned several could be.
And I think there have been letters sent, you know, certainly they're included in our annual meeting, and they still aren't interested or able to come at that point, so.
And again, those individuals have not expressed any interest, they have not asked for excuses, they just have not shown up or showed any interest at all, so. Again, if an individual shows an interest because of work or health or family obligations, they ask an excuse, we're not taking that. Specifically saying those individuals have not shown up, have not expressed any interest, have not even made the effort to notify the board that they need an excuse.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'll get together with Ann on that, and Chris has sign-in sheets, and we'll see what we can do. We've already had the CON committee, training and ed. Chris?
Hi. Yes, course applications have been received and filed. Did you have anything else, John, though, under CON? No. Okay, you're right. So that's it for me.
Okay, bylaws, Mr. Glass.
Nothing at this time.
Awards, and that also kind of encompasses the Vital Signs.
The awards are over, hope you had a good time, it's a nice place, a nice conclusion to another year. Gotta start thinking about awards for next year, because there is a time crunch to get them in time to have them considered by the state. The Vital Signs, as was stated earlier, the booth is procured. I have a banner coming that says Wyoming-Erie on it, I just haven't got the price on it yet. For sent me their information to be included in the attendance. I've submitted everything I have. So if you haven't gotten a confirmation by email, and you did send something to me, you might want to give me a call because it was summer. Everybody's that I've done have been paid by the council already, so there should be no out-of-pocket expense. With that came the request for folks to help staff the booth, and everybody wants to set up or tear down. If you can help me out a little more, as we get closer, I'll make some personal pleas to everybody, but you don't want me to be the only voice of representation for the council during the whole weekend. I'm putting together pamphlets to hand out along with having the applications. As far as a giveaway, I'm looking into a plastic waterproof card type holder that you can go to the beach with, or go in the water. It hangs around your neck, or it hangs on your belt. The only thing I haven't been able to do is the only thing I haven't been able to figure out, I got it down to under $1, but have it logoed by the council is going to cost a little more. So I'm still working on that. I looked at a whole bunch of pens. I wasn't too impressed by them, pens and pens, but I'll keep working on that. As far as for the council wear, I'm torn between getting more golf shirts, because we have a whole bunch of new folks that weren't around for the last distribution, or job shirts. The job shirts are considerably more expensive, but to me it's more functional for the folks when they go around town, especially in winter weather. So it's just, does anybody have a preference or want to discuss golf shirts versus job shirts? The golf shirts are around $22, $23 after they're embroidered and all. And the job shirts will be somewhere around $61. But you're investing in your job shirts. So, does anybody have the shirt? I have it out there. Should I leave it out there?
Any discussion for Mr. Gill?
I assume these aren't going to be in by vital signs, right? This isn't something you're trying to do for the conference, is it?
I'm trying to do it for the conference,
Oh.
but I waited to the meeting here because it was going to be kind of expensive or when anyway. I didn't want to make that decision completely on my own. But my effort will be to have it by conference, which
October.
will be tough.
Do we have the money for it?
I'm looking for everybody to
He's looking for comments. You have a dollar amount you're looking to,
What kind of?
Oh, you're looking for discussion. Trying to go.
what's our budget for this? Did you have a budget in mind, Mr. Gill?
I don't have a budget in mind. We have a, I don't know exactly how many people or which way we're going.
How much each?
61 for the job shirt.
We're going up to have you can pick between one or the other, but
Oh, really?
that's going to be an issue in quantity. And size.
1830 for 30 job shirts.
Did you look into the budget to see where it is that you'd like to find money for that? I'm cheap by nature. Think of my job. Say what? Okay.
But you won't get them by
You
conference.
won't get a bid on?
Yeah, if we have the money, let's, I mean, I would like, if we're gonna be at the conference representing the council, I think we need to be, look like we're council members and not somebody that just walked off the street, so.
There are an awful lot of vendors out there that are hungry to have that work. I can't imagine we couldn't have them by vital signs if we had a decision tonight to move forward. And I would also propose that you put a ceiling on those, you know, like a dollar amount per shirt.
If you wanna do the job shirts, do you wanna have people contribute towards them? We've done that at our fire department. If you don't wanna spend the $61, have anybody who wants a job shirt put in the 20, or you get the polo shirt for whatever the cost of the polo shirt is.
Did you, shop around, or is that just who you're used to dealing with that gave you the,
I looked at 2 or 3 places online,
okay.
pretty consistent. If you want me to get a hard number, I can send it out in the next 2 or 3 days, and everybody can
I
decide.
have a
on it.
511 supplier outside New York City that I buy all my stuff from,
Uh-huh.
that's significantly cheaper than any of the area locations.
Really?
Do you want me to get a quote?
Put the report on that, and then we'll go with that. Do you want to give me a cap right now?
So, yeah, I was gonna say, so do we have a motion for Mr. Gill to research an amount for 30 shirts not to exceed?
$2,000?
2,000.
Okay, the number I'm hearing is $2,000. That's a motion, Mark? Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion on that? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gill. Let me know if you need something.
He is going to need something. I'm going to pass, if you are a council member on the attendance roster, put what
Size.
size shirt you're looking for. Okay, so I can give that to Mr. Gill. Probably men's. The way that stuff usually goes.
Okay, anything else on the, Mr. Gill, is there anything else you want to contribute for the awards PR committee?
The only other thing for the awards, we've paid for the room, paid for the registration for the program. Was there any consideration about travel or anything like that? I'm drawing a blank.
We didn't see anything in the motions. We investigated that earlier. Yep.
Yeah, at the July meeting, I remember we talked that we weren't paying hotel room, but I can't read in the minutes what we decided about.
Past practice has been,
I think we got, I think that.
As the keeper of the minutes for that particular meeting, we're gonna discuss about the hotel room.
That we wouldn't be doing overnights.
There would be no,
Okay.
there was no discussion about mileage.
Okay, and,
past practice, when the thing has been local, only your registration is paid for.
okay.
No meals, no travel.
Okay. It was me that brought it up earlier, because it's a 100-mile ticket for me every day. I know it, fine job.
I'll pick you up, Cheryl.
Well, yeah, thank you. I don't know anybody who has to drive longer than me.
I'll drop you off.
I do. It'll be about a 100-mile trip for me.
Pike's a little farther than that. It doesn't make any difference. We need to go together. Okay, so that's the PR and the awards. Is there anything else on that committee, Mr. Gill, you'd like to discuss?
There's probably, but I don't remember it, so.
Okay, well, if it comes up, do speak up. I didn't believe I said that. Okay, program agency report.
Excuse me, Lou.
Yes,
Do we need a motion on whether we are going to do mileage or not?
it sounds as though past practice is not. If you're going to make a motion, okay, I'd entertain a motion, but it sounds as though past practice for local meetings is not.
Okay. So it's in the
There's
minutes.
only been one local meeting in the last, since it started in '85.
I thought I'd been at Buffalo twice. Really?
Yeah, maybe.
No, of course.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember being there twice.
Definitely, like,
Probably not more than that.
Twice in '85.
Gil really was there. Okay. Anything else on that topic before we move on to program agency report? Hearing none, sir.
The program agency report can be found up on the front table if you don't have it yet. It also went out by email later this afternoon, around 4:30 or so. Just a quick couple of keynotes that I'm going to grab off of here, not read through everything. The REMAC provider privilege application, that is the policy effective January 1st of this year, required that all providers in an agency that with the state EMS code register all their providers and essentially fill out an application disclosing prior agency affiliations, their level of care, certification, and so forth. Out of 117 agencies between Erie and Wyoming County, really there's 118 because rural Metro has 2 codes, but we'll say 117. We've only received 32 agencies that have responded. It means that there's 85 agencies out there that have not responded to this request at all. We do have to provide a report to the REMAC for their September 18th meeting. At that point, they're going to make a determination what happens with those agencies and the providers in those agencies. So I would encourage you, if you have a question as to whether your agency is submitted or not, shoot me an email and I can tell you. There's some that are probably right on the cusp and turning it in. I'm not trying to drag anybody's name through the mud, but really, please take an interest, especially for those who are here. Find out if your agency submitted or not, and please try to get in compliance so it doesn't reflect poorly on your agency on the 18th of September, because that will be recorded in the record. So, our specialty core sponsor agreement has been renewed through 2015. Our REMAC ALS protocols are still at this point in the hands of the state council. We get asked for an expedited. When I say we, I mean the REMAC. The REMAC had asked for an expedited review and approval of those protocols so that AEMTs in the region had something to be able to utilize. There was no response from the central office on that, so we're assuming that it has to go before CMAC and SEMSCO before they're going to take any further action on this. There are several CME opportunities coming up, including Pediatric Best Practice Workshop in Erie County on September 14th, which is a Saturday. There's one at Bertram Chafee Hospital on Tuesday, September 10th. Buffalo General Medical Center now has limited behavioral health services, and essentially they're requesting EMS to transport patients that might require admission to an alternate facility. Those facilities specifically in this region would be Wyoming County Community Hospital, ECMC, and then there's some outside of the area, also outside of the 2-county area. Probably the biggest issue with this is law enforcement may or may not be aware of this if they're going to put someone under the J41 papers, so you may want to touch base with your law enforcement and make sure that they are aware of that, just in case you encounter that situation. Last 2 things is the REMAC meeting is on September 18th at 1 o'clock at Erie County EMS, which is 2 weeks from today, and State Council meets October 2nd and 3rd in Albany. Any questions? Thanks.
Scott, I've asked before, when you send things out to the agency, especially electronically, could you at least copy the numbers here? Because as you well know, sometimes if it goes to a fire chief or the EMS captain, it doesn't always get disseminated through the whole membership. And when somebody comes to one of us and they ask for something, sometimes we have no clue that you've sent something else.
Everything that I've sent out, Chris has forwarded.
For the most, I've skipped a couple things.
I generally see it come back. Our list is not restricted to only fire chiefs and captains. It's everyone. What I would suggest is go to our webpage, and there's a way that you can go right on there and you can put your email address in. It goes right into the UB listserv. So it's in there. You may even already be in there if your email address or someone's email address maybe is changed. But register yourself right through that listserv. We have to migrate that way anyway, just because my Outlook inbox has reached its capacity for the number of people I can put in my group lists. So I would just encourage any members of the council to go to our website, click join the email list, and all you have to do is put your name in there and your email address, and you will get all future emails. Okay?
And that form for the provider privilege application is online on the website.
It's available on our website. It's on the REMAC website.
Perfect. All right.
That's
Those protocols were acknowledged by the SEMSCO because we did receive a list of 6 that are going to be reviewed at the next meeting.
good. I was going to ask you about that because I hadn't heard anything.
Yeah, they distributed, there are 6, and they give them out to the various committees to review them.
Right.
Okay, program old business, we already discussed vital signs. New business? Sir?
Could I ask a question, Scott? The upgrade training for people who aren't going to
We
You
put
had
up
said you
money to
picked a
develop.
CIC.
We've arranged for it anyway, but I don't believe, to my recollection, there was not money specifically earmarked for that. I think there was questions on the ability to do that, but
Yeah.
aside from that, we've
My
had,
recollection is, in fact, I think I made a motion.
To develop, wasn't there something about developing?
I thought it was to deliver.
Okay.
Thought it was to deliver, I wouldn't guess, but there was specifically a number in Wyoming and a number here.
Those are 2013 states. This would have been in last fiscal year? Or would it have been the beginning of this fiscal? It would have been the end of the state's fiscal year, but the beginning of our calendar
I
year?
thought it was the fire sale.
Okay, so January, February, March of this year? Okay.
No, I think it was actually last year.
Last year, you think?
When we started delivering, August of last year.
So it would have been in this fiscal cycle, that would have
But I
been
think it
January,
was early.
February,
I
March
think
of
it was really
13.
sort of ahead of the fire sale.
Okay. Well, we're looking that up. We do have a few guests here this evening. If we can have you introduce yourself, we'd also like to include you on the sign-in sheet so that we can put it in our minutes. So, who's here as guests? Oh, come on, go ahead.
Mike Gian, Evidence Fire Council.
I'm sorry?
Mike Gian, Evidence Fire Council.
Okay,
I'm Mark Bickman, Evans Fire Council.
thank you. Other guests?
Nick Michael, Hamburg Fire Department.
Thank you. Any other guests?
Cindy McLeod, state humans.
Cheryl, separate, I mean, unless this is something that you want recorded in the meeting minutes, we have secured Dan Limmer to do this, and he's going to do, it's a 12-hour, it's an 8-hour and a 4-hour twice in the same weekend, and so we're just waiting to hear dates back from him to do it. But I've had confirmation from him that he is going to do it. He's just been gone for about a month, and we just haven't been able to finalize dates.
Okay, you know what, while we're on that topic, has there been any further guidance out of Albany? Because their FAQs read, and I should have looked this up earlier today, the FAQs read there was a cutoff if you weren't recertified, or you had to show proof of obtaining that it's supplemental training. Has there been any further guidance on that? Because are they gonna take your certification away, would you no longer be recognized?
You're good until the end of your current card, right? But the issue then has to do with liability, because you're not up to the training standards. So each department takes the liability on themselves, right? Because you've got people in the field that aren't meeting the standards.
The training ed subcommittee has made it clear through Andy Johnson, basically he's the one speaking, and I don't wanna speak for him, but I go to those meetings, and Andy's made it very clear that it's up to the agencies to ensure that their providers have received that training by June of 2014. And any application that the Bureau received after December, I don't remember the exact date, but 2012, they weren't gonna process a renewal, like a CME research application, unless it included that supplement training. But even if a provider was valid until January of 2015, the agency needed to ensure that they received that supplemental training by June 2014.
Thank you.
And that is on the Bureau's website, under education.
Basically, that you can give more money if needed.
Go ahead and read it.
John, the only thing I found in the motion table from last year, which was from the September 5th meeting a year ago, was that motion was made by the chair to voice at a minimum at budget time a request similar number of increase in funding for training, taking into consideration increase in content for all levels courses. I didn't.
That was intended to ask Albany to consider with the increased hours for reimbursement.
And he made the motion too.
I made that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. There's nothing else on the motion table.
It's probably having a dream.
All right.
It was budget.
But I mean, as a part of our agreement with this council, that is a part of what we are, a part of what we're doing.
Like I said, I thought I made that motion. I mean, it's over and above.
Mhm.
I'm all for funding that, putting it out in the community. Like I said, I thought I made that motion, or at least supported it.
So you've got training money, or you've got that training going on, you're pushing it out right now?
We're just waiting on the dates.
Gotcha.
That's all we're waiting on.
Okay. Any other business to come before the council? Okay, didn't we already motion that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, apologize, I thought we did at the beginning.
We talked about it. We didn't make a motion on it.
And we didn't do the other piece then about the authorize the payments, or did that?
We did the authorization.
Okay, I
payments.
apologize. Up at the beginning of the treasurer's report and correspondence report, I acknowledged that we received invoices for the CON bills. Also acknowledged that we had a grant application for $175 to subsidize the expenses for the mass casualty drill training for Western New York responders. I made that information known that we received an application, but we don't have a record where we did a vote. So if I could have a vote to approve that $175 funding for the grant application, it will go to Erie County, who is hosting the mass casualty training exercise today and tomorrow. If I got that right, John? He's gone.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I have Dan made the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Discussion.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. We'll see if there's any opposed. I didn't go on to discussion. Any opposed?
Sorry.
Okay, hearing none, that's approved. Thank you for the housekeeping, I forgot. Anything else for the good of the council? Cindy McLeod?
I wasn't sure what time the meeting started, and I went on what I thought was the council's website. And it says that the webcasts of the council will be recorded and made available here via web streaming, but there's nothing there. And the membership that was on the site that I went to goes back to all the people expired in 2010 and 2011. So I just wanted to mention it.
Thank you.
Maybe I wasn't in the right place.
There's a website access problem that we're having, that we can't get into that. We switched web developers, and one-in-one, which is the hosting service that we use, when we switched, the passwords from the previous is not transferring over, and that's what the issue is. We did in fact, it was in my July report. We just received the updated list from Ann, who's on the membership committee, and that was what was forwarded on, and that's what he has been unable to upload.
Our program agency, I believe, takes care of maintaining our website for us to the best of, yeah. Thank you. No, I didn't know that. There's no reason I'd get up on there and check it out.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Thank you. Any other information to share with the council? Hearing none, do I have a motion? Lots of people would motion to adjourn. There you go. Second? For a motion to adjourn, we don't need all the other. Thank you. Less than an hour?
Mm-hmm. A lot of business, too.
I got that. And
Yeah, I know.
What are you gonna do?
Exactly, what are you going to do? And I think, where's my sign-in sheet?
When we do at the state, oh my God, they scare the shit out of you, intimidate you.
Well, I was a little intimidated to begin with. Where's the sign-in sheet?
I don't have it.
I probably do.
Oh, I do. No, I do, because I handed it, our guest signed off.
Oh, yeah.
Policies, if you're going by the same.
Yeah, probably. I see what.
Just talking.
Oh boy.
I got a question for you too.
Oh boy. He's got his application.
The council, I remember the advanced books. Did they, for the publics? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. I know they only bought a certain number. Who has those? If anybody, have they all been distributed?
I would ask Scott.
Scott? Okay.
That would be my first person to ask. Okay. See what he says.
So happy to get back to school?
No.
No?
Good kids. I mean, I'm very excited about the kids, but
Summer's over and
I'm exhausted. Like, I just want to sleep.
you're used to getting up that early in the morning.
Yeah. Did you make your call for the unresponsive? Was was she hurt? Or?
No.
When I heard you go to Lakeshore, I'm like,
Wasn't a teenager. We always have this regular guy on 77 Union. He would always cut his wrist on a monthly basis. A few months back, we got called there for a female with chest pain. It's his new girlfriend. She gives an address of 404. It's the Strozzi building. Oh, okay. It was her. She might have had a seizure. Might have. But she wasn't a teenager. She's like 34. Metro didn't. I don't know where they were coming from. They never showed up.
Mr. Adolph. I have.
You probably have 6 or 7 copies now.
I have a set for the files. Thanks. Mr. Adolph, what size shirt do you want? Oh, never mind. Disregard.
He was just over a little more than the rest. Should I put an application for you?
Sure. That's interesting.
I enjoy this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Can I get the last one you saw again?
0997.
Because somebody played my phone and I only played very long.
Oh, yeah, it's 8640997.
I have the other, I just grabbed the last 4 and I'm like, I can't even